Do you want to get more leads and make more placements? Well, if you're still spending hours cold calling manually and searching for leads, then I am about to change your life in this video. Now, before I get into that, for those of you who are new here, my name's Jessica Kimber. I've been a recruiter for over 16 years now, which is actually 50% of my life. I have placed over 2,000 people into employment worldwide and generated over $20 million in recruitment fees. I own a recruitment agency and I also own a company called Rare, which offers personal branding and recruitment training programs. And from these, I teach recruiters how to be the best possible recruiter in the market, as well as how to automate the lead generation process and ultimately triple their revenue. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the shift from traditional lead generation and recruitment methods to how to automate the lead generation process. So ultimately you can make placements faster and easier than ever before. Now, you may know that I am a huge fan of LinkedIn lead generation. In fact, it transformed my entire business, 2 businesses actually. 2 startups in the last 3 years have become highly profitable purely off the back of LinkedIn. So this is of course what I teach. I have had participants in my programs from all walks of life, industries, different stages of their career. I have some clients who say that, for example, one client, Chris, he hasn't sourced in over 5 months after completing my program because I set him up on autopilot so he could generate leads and he could focus his time on reverse marketing these leads who were coming to him first. And he's actually a new dad, so of course this transformed his life and he had his highest billing quarters that he's ever had in his business as well. I had another client who literally came to me with 4 months recruitment experience and said they want to get a head start and they want to start building a personal brand from day one. They completed the program with me one-on-one, and from there, after literally 2 weeks, they ended up getting 3 new clients onboarded with them just because they were so crystal clear on their messaging, what they were putting out on LinkedIn, but then also how that was translating into the conversations they were having with people on the phone as well. So this stuff absolutely works, but you just need to know how to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. So when it comes to the old way, the traditional way of recruitment, what it entails is manual searches and cold calling and reaching out to people one-on-one. Now, I don't know about you, but I just don't have time or the patience these days to speak to people one-on-one all day. Not that initial lead generation aspect anyway, because cold calling actually has a 2% success rate. So what that means is in order for me to get 2 clients, I need to speak to 100 people. And to be honest, that for me is such a low conversion. I see that as a waste of time. And something important to note is that when it comes to lead generation and sales or converting, they're actually 2 totally different strategies. Now, this is actually where recruiters get very confused because they think, well, if I'm doing cold calls and I'm generating leads that way, that's going to lead to conversion. However, what I say is lead generation is totally different. There's actually a video that I recently created, which is 26 ways to generate leads. So I would definitely recommend giving that a watch so you can see what I mean by this. But ultimately, what you need to do is find smart ways to automate the lead generation process, reach people at mass scale, and then when people come to you, they're already either warm or partway in their mind have made the decision that they already want to work with you because there's trust and credibility there immediately before you even have to speak to them. Now, why this is important is because the worst thing in the world is wasting your time chasing cold leads, not getting any positive responses or conversations or anything interesting out of somebody that you can work with because there's nothing there in terms of trust and credibility. So ultra important that we leave the old way behind. We leave that to the recruitment dinosaurs. And in 2024, we start automating leads for you. Now, the first step that you need to go through if you want to automate the lead generation process is building a strong personal brand. And when I say a personal brand, I don't actually mean going straight in and posting content at this point. I mean actually going inside and digging deep and saying, what am I all about? What are my values? Who am I speaking to? Who are my target audience? What do they want to see from me? How can I create a compelling message which resonates with my audience? Why would someone want to work with me in the first place? What are my unique selling points? What are my differentiators? How am I projecting that into the world? How am I able to handle objections? What knowledge do I have that can help my target audience? Now, you probably haven't thought about a lot of that before, but ultimately what I see, and the biggest mistake I see when people were trying to generate leads through LinkedIn, and the reason they don't convert is because they go straight in and they start posting content or random information. But if you haven't answered these core foundational questions that are actually critical to getting your target audience to understand that you're talking to them, how can you expect to convert? People are going to read this information, which actually may be useful. However, they're still going to be left with question marks because your messaging and your copy isn't clear. And then let's add things on top of that, like how do you structure the post? Is your LinkedIn profile acting as a landing page, like a sales page, explaining what you do and doing the heavy lifting for you? There's actually a lot that goes into it. But if you can master this and if you can nail this, it actually works for you like clockwork. So the core pillars of personal branding is everything that I've just mentioned in terms of understanding personally what you're offering. And the other three are optimizing your profile, so it acts as a sales page, having a communication and outreach strategy as well, ultra important to control the narrative and who sees you, and then your content strategy as well. But one without the other won't necessarily convert. So if you're posting content, but people click into your profile and it's not really clear what you do, why would they message you? There's no real compelling reason to message you. And if you're not removing those points of friction where you're saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I do, and this is how I can help you, they're just not going to convert. And the challenge is if you're not doing this, other recruiters are. Personal branding is actually very popular at the moment in the recruitment industry. And I think a lot of agencies are starting to understand the benefits to it. So they're jumping on the bandwagon. There's some people doing it really, really well. And there's some people not so well, unfortunately, which is also what I'm here to help with. But those who are doing it well will position themselves as that go-to recruiter. And if that's not you, the chances are that's your competitor. And that's the struggle. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but that is the reality. Now, once you've got all of this set up in terms of your personal brand, what you then need to do is strategically market yourself and your content in a way where, yes, you're sharing valuable information to generate interest and build authority and credibility, but you are also handling their objections throughout your content and being super strategic with that, because this is the way that your target audience are going to immediately resonate with you. And this is where, again, removing the friction points between you and them, because they know you can help. How can you not help if you've helped them 20 times beforehand, and out of that, you've addressed all of their pain points and you've helped them overcome them? Think about it. It's actually more psychology than anything else. And when you do this, and you do this at mass scale, so you're reaching tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people per month, it's impossible you will not get leads. Like, I don't believe for 1 minute you can go through that process, reach hundreds of thousands of people, solve their problems, have a sales page, control the narrative of who sees it, and never get leads. It's impossible. It won't work that way. However, it needs to be done well. To give you some context of how this has worked for me, I'll take you back to number one, how I even got into personal branding. I started my agency, and it was about 6, 7, 8 months after I started, I had a trip to Europe booked, and it was just after COVID. So I was like, non-negotiable, I am going to see my family. And to be honest, I don't want to work. I'm human. I don't want to sit there working on holidays, even if I am a business owner. So I was, drinking my lemon daiquiris on my sun lounger. And I thought, well, how can I actually make sure I'm front of mind and stay in touch with my clients as such without sitting there on the phone? So I started posting on LinkedIn, and I started just posting what I called Mythbusters, which was a myth of the recruitment industry and then a truth. Now, it's so funny because I look back at these and they're actually really funny, cringy posts. One day I might screenshot them and put them back on my public page because they're actually funny. But the weird thing is people actually started responding to that and asking me questions. Or some things I was posting that were a little bit funny, and people would just be like, oh my God, can relate. And then I was like, oh, actually, this is getting a few people interested in wanting to speak to me. And I was building these authentic conversations off the back of that. I had no strategy, no blueprint. I was literally winging it. And yeah, it started to work. So I thought, well, I'm definitely onto something here. I need to learn everything that I can. So that's exactly what I did. I went to programs, I went to seminars, I paid for so many online courses to learn how to build a personal brand. And then I took everything that I learned from people who have got like millions of followers and generated like tens of millions of dollars from their personal brand. And I applied it to myself in a recruitment aspect, and specifically to LinkedIn, because that's where my target audience is. And ever since then, in 2023, I generated 3.3 million views on my posts, which is amazing. I got almost 8,000% increase in engagement. My average profile views per week is like 946, which is actually just crazy. That many people view my profile. And because I've got a clear call to action, people know where to click to connect with me, or for me to help them or answer their questions. So all of this stuff has just put people through ultimately like a funnel, like an automated sales cycle, where I get the views, they see that I can help, they know where to click to work with me or connect with me. There's a lead, easy. All without me lifting a finger. And that's the best part about this. And when I say lifting a finger, yes, I post every day on LinkedIn. I do set them up on a scheduler though. So fun fact, if I ever don't reply to your message but I'm posting on LinkedIn, I'm not actually posting, it's my scheduler. So what I do is I spend and invest 15 minutes of my time writing a post and generate inbound leads off the back of that. So let's just say every single week I get probably, how many leads do I even get these days? It varies week to week, but 15 to 30 leads a week. And this week, for example, I've been invited onto 2 different podcasts. I've got 5 or 6 sales calls booked in for rare programs, just literally off the back of these posts this week. And it took me 15 minutes. So if you think about that, an hour investment of my time in total, I've got 2 podcasts and 5-6 leads. It becomes so easy to automate the lead generation process when it's working for you. But ultimately, you do know how to set everything up and set the foundations up so it does work for you. So this is actually exactly what I teach. I teach individuals through the online version of my programs, and I can also run team training as well to roll out a team-wide strategy to get everyone on the same page. I teach all things personal branding, automating the lead generation process, LinkedIn profile optimization, etc. I make sure that you are set up for success and you know who to target, how to target them, and how to make sure that you're playing the algorithm so that the right people see your posts as well. It's ultra important. So if you are interested in mastering the new way to recruit, automating the lead generation process, and reaching your prospects at mass scale, click the link in the comments to book a consultation call with me. I would love to understand your needs and exactly what you're looking for out of a program. What I can then do is discuss the options available to you, whether that's online, in-person, or virtual training, and exactly what that looks like. So click the link in the comments. If you did like this video, please also give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe to be notified of new videos which I post weekly. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't watched the 26 ways to generate leads, definitely make sure you watch that as well, because that's just going to help you accelerate this process even more.